Howdy, friends. Steve DePoe here with the Rose Realty team with this week's real estate vlog from North Texas. Before we get started, we ask you to go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Let's Do Real Estate Texas. There's no charge, but you will be alerted to updates and changes to our series Spotlight on Community, Focus on Small Business, and of course, our weekly real estate updates on North Texas. Thank you. Let's get started. Today, top legal mistakes that home sellers make. Interesting. Let's get into it. Highest offer. Just accepting so when a seller just accepts the highest offer without any regard for other terms in the contract. So some of those terms could be what? The buyer has to sell their house first. They have to get it's a cash offer versus a mortgage. The buyer is asking the seller to pay for title insurance and closing fees and all those kinds of other things, right? So even if I go in there with the highest offer, because I'm asking for title insurance and fees and maybe HOA fees and et cetera, there's a possibility that my offer, even though it's the highest dollar amount, is going to end up costing the seller the most amount of money out of their pocket. So it's something that sellers have to kind of be wary of. That's why, frankly, you got a real estate agent to help you out with those kinds of things. Rose does what we call a net sheet to kind of show, hey, here's, this offer is going to give you this much in your pocket, and this offer is going to give you that much in your pocket. So you have to be aware of that. Not handling multiple offers correctly. Interesting topic in today's environment. Okay, so when you have multiple offers, the really important thing to do is, number one, to treat every offer and treat every potential buyer the same. Okay, so you can't tell one buyer. Let's say you had 3 offers. You can't tell buyer 1 what buyer 2's offer is unless you tell buyer 2 what buyer 1's offer is. Okay, did you follow that? Okay, and so it's important to treat everybody the same, and tell everybody the same information, so that we don't get caught in any legal grinder there, right? And so everybody's treated the same, and we've got to treat them almost put blindfolds on and just hear what the net sheet's gonna come out. Sometimes also you got to remember that in multiple offer situations, what's happened a number of times is the potential buyer writes a letter. Oh, we love your house because of this and that, and our kids and blah, 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 and grandma. And you kind of get caught up in those things, but then you end up finding out that it wasn't the best offer to begin with. Okay. And it's more money out of my pocket. Now, if you're somewhat amenable to that and helping a young couple out, good for you, but at least we go into it with an open mind and open eyes. Okay. What money? Not bringing enough earnest money to the table, in the offer, or the amount is too small. Okay. So typically the earnest money, okay, in an offer is 1% of your offer price, right? So if you've got a $300,000 house you're bidding on, and your offer is $300,000, then your earnest money is going to be $3,000. Okay. If you come to the table with 500, then the seller and the seller's agent is going to say, what the heck, can they not afford this, or what's going on? Now, there may be extenuating circumstances, okay, and we can explain those away, but not coming to the table with any earnest money or not enough earnest money could be an issue. What leak? Well, so the seller has to disclose to the buyer, okay, any problems or issues with the house that may affect the value of the property. Okay. This is very important. Okay. So that's number one. That's why the buyer always does a home inspection. That's what I encourage all my buyers to do, a home inspection. Okay, that's number one. Number two, because those sellers have lived in that house for an extended period of time, the sellers know everything that's going on with the house. Okay. And when the sellers know everything that's going on with the house, they have sort of an advantage over the buyer, right? And so that's why we asked them to fill out a seller's disclosure. And in the seller's disclosure, the seller has to be dead honest about what's going on so that the potential buyer knows how to react. Good example. I just had a client who was looking at a house that recently had foundation problems. Okay, and the seller's agent disclosed, number one, that they had foundation problems, and number two, gave us the engineer's report on the fix to the foundation. So in other words, they put in piers, right? And so they told us all about that. But we're 100% upfront and let us know what the situation was. That allows my client, with the amount of money that they were going to spend, that allows my client to make an informed judgment call on the house. Okay, and so that's very important. It's mine. So here's something that's important. If you're the seller, okay, then you should. So when you sell a house, typically what's understood is things that are attached to the house are going to go with the house. So if you have a ceiling fan, that's going with the house. If you have pictures are included. If you have you kind of argue whether a wall-mounted TV goes with the house or whether just a bracket goes with the house. Okay, we typically understand that the TV goes with the seller and the wall-mounted bracket stays with the house. But if the seller had something in the house that they really wanted, okay, they really wanted to take along. Here's a good example. Let's say you were including your patio furniture with the sale, okay, at no additional charge, okay. Then, but maybe there's a hammock outside that was given to you, by your father who passed away, okay. Well, you want to exclude that. So number one, I would advise take that hammock off the premises, store it someplace, stick it in the garage, whatever. It shouldn't be seen by potential buyers, number one. But if it's back there, then what you should state in the listing agreement is that the hammock is not included. Okay, so you want to include things in that statement that you want to exclude from the sale. Okay, so that there's no problem. So there's no wishy-washy area where the buyer thinks we're getting this $20,000 refrigerator when in fact you were expecting to take it with you. Okay, so you want to make sure you exclude things from the sale that you want to take with you. Next week, home renovations that add value to your property. Stay tuned. This is Steve DePoe with the Rose Realty team. I'm going to bounce.